Just why is it record? Why did it record? What kind of? Okay, I guess it's spiritual then. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Conversation with. Today we have our sister here, Jannay, with us. We're just gonna talk about just her story, her life. So, if you want to introduce yourself.
Why, hello. Everything. I am Jannay. Jannay Amponsah. So yes. That is me. That is I.
Right. So what's your journey like? Obviously for everybody that comes into my channel, we usually start from when they were young. So when they were kids, like what are the first memories you remember growing up into this beautiful country we call home?
Can we pause it for a second?
Sure. Incredibly nosy, but anyways. Yeah, so guys, we're back. Should we just start it again?
Yeah, let's
should we just carry on?
No, let's just I don't know. Indecisive.
After you.
Let's continue it.
Okay.
So childhood. I grew up in West London, Ladbroke Grove, from when I was born till year 4. I had mum and dad together until like 7, and then afterwards it was more trying to co-parent, shall I say. I had my auntie that lived with us because my grandma passed away. She didn't have her dad in her life, so she went to live with us. Let's just say that was an adventure. It was nice. I liked it. Skip to teenage years. I ended up moving from Ladbroke Grove to Chiswick, West London, which is next to Hammersmith. Went to school in Chiswick, went to Chiswick High School, didn't work out very well. My mum put me in Fulham Cross. That was a big change.
What's Fulham Cross?
It's a girls' school. So I was in a mix and then changed to a girls' school.
What's the difference between... Because obviously I went to a mixed school my whole life. I've never been to a all-male school. I grew up in a private school, but when I got into my teenage years, I went to a public school. So I know the difference between public school and private school. But I don't know what's the difference between a mixed school and a non-mixed school.
The girls are more put together. They're actually more crazy in a girls' school.
Okay.
So like there's a lot more fights. Everyone's gossiping. They're a bit more rude than they would be if there was boys there, because they wouldn't want to act like that.
Of course.
That's the big difference that I noticed. And I'd say culture difference is like Fulham is mainly got Somalians and a lot of Caucasian people, whereas Chiswick, it has got a lot of Caucasian people, but it's got black people in there as well. So Chiswick school was more, it had a lot of black mixed race people.
Right.
When I went to Fulham Cross, it was like 90%, I would even say 95% Somalian. It was like a small percentage of black girls and a small percentage of white girls.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's your core, like if you were to pick up a good memory from that time, what was it?
What, from moving to Chiswick?
Yeah, from the mix to the... Did you have any good memories there or none at all?
I didn't really want to go. It's more of a forceful thing.
Right.
But I would say that's how I met Sheldon.
Okay.
So yeah, I do have core memories because I still do have friends from there. So that's probably my best experience.
Okay.
But it would be the friends that I wouldn't have picked in secondary. So,
I see. Okay, so we're moving from teenage years. I don't know if I can talk about this or not. Obviously, if I can't, I would edit it out and then I would just jump into a next question. But you also grew up in the system.
In care,
in care home. You want to talk about that?
When you said the system, it sounded like prison.
I don't know how else to explain it. Do you want to talk about it?
So I ended up going into care because I ended up selling drugs. That wasn't the main reason, but it was just because my mum couldn't control me, she said. I just wouldn't come home till like 3 or 4 a.m. She'd know where I was, but just in case anything happened to me physically, what would be her explanation to social services or the police? Which she wouldn't have any because she couldn't control me. Yeah. So for that purpose, she decided to put me into care.
How old were you when you went into care?
I was 13, so at the time my dad was in prison.
Okay.
So if my dad
Very young,
wasn't
yeah.
in prison, I wouldn't have been in care.
Okay.
You know, West Africans, they didn't do care
of course,
system and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But because my dad was in prison, there wasn't much option of who could take me.
Yeah.
And my mum just gave up, basically.
What got you started in the drug business, as they say?
Somebody that I used to go out with was into that, and then I decided to try that myself. And then from there, it was the money. It was the one thing I felt like I was actually really good at. You know, when you say, oh, I go to work and I'm really great at this and this, I had so many different skills, but I used it for that purpose.
Yeah.
As in maths and different things. So
was it more of the sales that obviously? I hope anything we say here won't get you in trouble. Everything is cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So was it more of the sale? Was it more of the status? Was it more of the obviously you say
money.
Just the money.
When you
purely.
get fast money quickly.
Yeah.
So imagine you go to a job and every week in that job you're earning £900 to £1,000. Realistically, when you go to a normal job now, it's just never going to be the same. It's like that. It's never the same. So even me working a normal job now, I enjoy the money I get. I love it, but I can easily spend it and it actually means nothing to me.
And with that being said, obviously, when you were there, from what I know, is that when you met your baby's father, or is that?
No, so that's not originally how I met him or through that.
Right.
I actually already knew him.
Oh, you already knew him?
I knew him from when I was like 13.
Yeah.
I just didn't like him.
Oh.
I just didn't like him. I thought he was rude. So it was nothing. I didn't meet him through that, basically. But he did do that as well on the side.
So what changed? What got you attracted to him? Like, what made you say, he's a good looking brother, I like him now?
I don't.
It just happened, kind of thing.
It wasn't more attraction. It was more actually personality.
Okay.
It was personality, getting to know him, talking to him, getting to know some similarities about ourselves. That was the main bit.
So anyway, sorry guys, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, the rain and everything. So we're trying to make sure the sounds
scratch.
trying to make sure that the sounds quality are fine. But anyways, so as we're talking, so young, you're young, you're going to school, mixed school, then late teenage years, you go to a all girl school. 2 seconds. You go to an all girl school.
Yeah.
Then after that, you get into the drug business and everything. You're making a lot of money, parents cannot control you. So you get moved into a care home.
Yeah.
What's life like in the care home?
So I had two. There's care home and then there's an actual foster placement. I prefer the care homes mainly because you're with a bunch of different children that are in the same position. Sorry, 2 seconds. That was weird. Yeah,
that was weird.
That was so weird.
Sorry guys, we had two guys coming in and then they saw us in the camera in the car and then they just turned around. Weird.
I thought they didn't want to be in the video, but now they've jumped in the car. I'm just like, that was a bit weird.
Anywho, carry on.
Sorry, where was we at? Because I'm still thinking about these weird people.
We were talking about, well, we are in the ghetto, but we were talking about.
We are not in the ghetto. I tell you that.
But anyways, we were talking about how life was like in the system.
Oh, okay. So I started off in foster placements, which I hated.
Right.
For me, it was uncomfortable. Obviously, it's different for everybody, but entering at 13, you're used to going home, and when you enter your home, it feels like, you know what I mean? You're at home. You walk into your mum's house, it feels at home. Even if it's not your house, it's still your mum's. You know you're comfortable. You can walk into the fridge and look. That's what I do anyway. I go straight into the fridge, look. But when you're in somebody else's house, it just feels weird. Even though you're welcomed into, like, you know, get whatever you want, it just doesn't feel natural because you don't know them, they don't know you. Sometimes it's like not even the same culture as you, so it's just it's a barrier culture thing. I just didn't feel comfortable, to be honest.
Right.
The care homes I preferred because everybody was in the same circumstance, plus you just have staff members. So you have staff members from all different race, usually more than one, and they pretty much it's more independence rather than joining somebody's random family, if that makes sense. It's more so like semi-independent. It's kind of like a hostel.
Right.
Just they check on you more, obviously.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
I went to over about 15 placements because
Wow.
all of them broke down because I didn't want to live in somebody else's house.
Was that the main issue then? You just didn't want to live in
My
someone else's
issue
house?
was I didn't want social services help whatsoever.
Right.
For me, I was making money at the time, so I could look after myself. That's how I saw it anyway. Obviously, being an adult now, you can't just go and rent. But in my mind, I was like, I'll book a hotel every day and look after myself.
Yeah. So so as you're going through that, what so obviously you're making, like you said, you're making good money. You feel like you can take care of yourself and everything. What made you get out of all this stuff?
I was 17. I don't want to say too much into the information, but I was at OT. So do you know what OT is?
No, I don't know what OT is.
Let me explain OT. OT. Right.
Never much love when you go OT.
OT is basically country.
Okay.
So you go in the middle of the countryside.
Over state. Over.
Yeah, you know, like county lines.
Yeah, over county line. Yeah.
But you want to go to more rural areas. You don't want to go to cities.
Okay.
You go rural areas and you sell drugs. I hated that mainly because I prefer to do it in London. I'm not gonna lie to you. I prefer to know where I'm going. If I need to run, if something happens, I know where I am. In the middle of nowhere, I don't know where I am. Like, I just don't know where they're. Plus, the crackheads there and the crackheads here are so different. The crackheads there are crazy. They're like zombies. They run at you in swarms. The crackheads here, they're pretty sane, but they're more chilled.
Yeah, but obviously, I don't know about that life. But from what I can see in the movies, you can't just get out of that life. You know how is it possible that you were just able to
because that's
get
not
in?
the reality.
No?
The reality for me, okay, maybe for some people, I can't say that's not the reality for everyone.
Okay.
Because I don't know everyone's experience. But the reality for me was I chose to do it. I found the person who had that line, which was maybe they were selling this or selling that. You call the number, that's the line. I found the people to like, yeah, I want to jump on, I want to do this. And they was like, yeah, you sure you want to jump on? What time? Cool. And then if I don't want to jump on for 2 months, I don't have to. Like, it's more contracted work if you think of it like that.
Okay.
There's so many different people you could go to and just easily come out. The thing with London is there's so many children that are impoverished, like, you know, their parents are crackheads, they don't have food, they don't have electric, they don't have stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people I meet, their parents are either crackheads or something like that, or there's a reason to, or they're supporting their whole family. So there's something to as to why they're doing it, or they're just literally supporting themselves.
No, because I remember we were talking about this, like, this is literally the conversation that made me want to do this video with you, you know what I mean? Because I remember we were talking about something similar to this about 2 or 3 months ago. And I remember the way you were explaining it, it sounded a lot more like a business. More than, like, obviously coming from the outside of it.
Like this.
When you're looking into it,
I would choose to like jump on for like a week. After I jump on, there's like 5 other people that are waiting.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not a thing where, oh, they need loads of people. There's so many people there that you kind of have to get your spot within and book sort of thing, because if not, everybody wants to make money and there's so many kids in London. I feel like that probably more happens in the rural sides because there's probably not many people that want to do that life. But out here, there's so many kids that are ready to easily sell drugs for anything.
That's crazy then. So how do you think, obviously you were in it, how do you think is the best way then for the government to tackle this kind of behavior for
help
kids?
Impoverished families?
Yeah.
That's the only way it's going to make a difference. Realistically, start setting out more jobs for 16-year-olds. Start getting kids into programs where they can get themselves into jobs easily from a young age, from deciding to leave school. But it's like or 18 said, though, now, the law has changed.
But it's like you said, though, innit? Like, obviously, if you're 13, 14, you're making this kind of money, you're not gonna...
So then maybe support the families that are impoverished more. Like, look at it, we're in a recession now. Cost of living, great and all, but sorry, that means nothing.
Right.
Like, cost of living, it might have helped families slightly, but it's not helping the day-to-day of every month's cost. Like, £300 every season doesn't help all your bills being high every month. That's just a little bonus to make you forget about all the bills being high.
Yeah, which is true, right? Well, which I believe is true, because obviously the way I grew up and the way you grew up are very different. And we again, we had this conversation before where I thought when you live under the umbrella of the government, they were very helpful. That's what I thought. I thought they would take care of you, they take care of your house, take care of your food and finances and everything. But it's not necessarily like that, is it?
Let me keep it real. Past 18, you actually get a lot of help. So I would say, like, leaving care, they give you so much help.
Right.
And reason being is it's only if you choose to go to higher education, like university, then they'll completely help you. So if I go to uni now, I get about 4 or 5 grand a term. That's not, we get care leavers bursary, which is a lot higher. Plus, for instance, my council will give me £1,000 a month just for being on time and going to my lessons. Plus, I also don't pay council tax while I'm in uni. There's so much different benefits that they help you with. They help you with your first property, getting it quicker. They help you with, I think I got like 2 to 3 grand to start off with for white goods. So there is a lot of help, but I'd say as a child, it's not there. I would say the emotional support, if you are taking care of a child and you're taking a child in saying you can't look after this person, you should be able to fall under all umbrellas of neglect, emotional, physical and sexual. If you can't make sure they've not got all of these, then you can't do the same as the parent. And I think on the emotional side, they don't give you any of that.
Right.
They don't teach you they just don't teach you things. It's like you have to go out and learn yourself. Money wise, they teach you pathway and things like that of what to buy for your shopping, how to save. But it's not really we sit down and we calculate. It's more so, here's £20. If you blow it this week, I guess you won't blow it next week.
Right.
That's how it's like.
Mad.
So for me, it was like, it was just having annoying people in my life. They didn't keep me safe. They didn't stop from any like abuse or anything I had. It actually still continued and still went on. It just was in a different setting.
I mean, for me, speaking out of personal experience, when I left the army, I was 24, and the government made so many promises, and it's not like they didn't help. They helped in a term where the job that I'm doing now is through their help, but they also promised to pay for the courses, and they promised to like give me a house to live in. Obviously I would pay rent and everything, but they would have helped me with a house. But when I went to the government and asked for those help, the wait list was so long, it was just easier. And I was lucky enough that while I was serving, I saved enough money to then do it myself, because I have so many comrades, I would say, who serve with me, so many brothers in arms that serve with me, and you hear them complaining all the time that the government is not helping them. I was lucky enough to save money while I was serving, so when I left, I just paid for my own courses, and now I live in my own house. You know what I'm saying? I was just lucky enough to get taught as a young man, by my parents. Save. Obviously, now that I'm older, I know investing is better, but when I was younger, save, and that's what helped me out in the beginning. But hearing your story, it's a little bit more different, isn't it? Because obviously you grew up with your parents as well, but at 13, it was a very young age to be separated. And you're growing with the government and everything like that, and you would think that the government will, and I'm not saying they don't, they probably do, but as you say, you are right, they do need to do a better job.
I think they need to do a complete better job. My experience, I would say, is the probably least traumatic. I didn't get abused in care by any of my carers or anything like that, but I've heard many stories of people actually getting abused by the foster carers, physically abused, sexually abused. For me, I had abuse outside of them people, but that was still going on, but that was blatant in their face that they just let slide, because they're not my parents. They go home. They're care home workers that come for 6 hours, 7 hours and go home. Not saying majority of them don't care, but caring is not enough to stay and do something about it. So I would say they need to do a really better job. I feel like they watch into people that they don't need to watch into. There's a lot of, not in a rude way, but there's a lot of heavy drug users that still have their kids. Their kids are born on heroin, cocaine, and like you hear from that side, but then you hear from mothers that go through domestic violence, whose kids get taken first, and ones with domestic violence. Obviously that's understandable, and I grew up in domestic violence, so I know what that is and how it affects a child, but my thing would be, would you not support that woman if she wanted to get out rather than just leaving a child with a drug addict parent? Do you know what I mean? It's just like you probably know of people that maybe, I don't know, grandparents or cousins or somebody in their family that's done drugs or something, and they have kids, and they have multiple kids, and like social services, it's like they don't really care. I've watched it and I've seen it.
Oh well, I don't have that kind of experience. You're the only person that actually opened my eyes to that world, you know. But anyways, let's move on to a different topic now, because obviously with you like that topic?
No, I said a lighter topic.
A lighter topic. I mean, I'm not sure if it's lighter or not, but we're talking about, you know, your mom as well, of a young daughter that I've met, cute, beautiful child, born the same day as me. You know, that's why she's my favorite. But
I'm dead.
But you know,
everybody heard it.
What is it like being a single mother at your age, in our day and age? Obviously, with your living circumstances.
I'm going to talk about my circumstances. Everybody's circumstances is very different.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't have support from my mum. I don't speak to my mum whatsoever. Just by choice. My dad, I haven't spoken to for a few months, and that's by choice as well, mainly because I like peace and serenity, and I thought if you bring problems in my life, or you bring me to where I leave a conversation and I'm still angry an hour later, I don't really want you in my life, because I just want to get on with my day. I don't want people to disturb my day or my child's day, and my child sees me angry. I would say it's lovely, but I'd say it's hard. It's been fun, but it's been hard because I haven't really had that support. I have her support from paternal side. So her grandma, as you guys know.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
She's at grandma's now. But I have support from grandmas, aunties, uncles on her dad's side. But it's two different cultures. So her dad is Jamaican. I am bunch of different countries, West African, East African.
She's from Ivory Coast, guys. She just doesn't want to accept it. You know what I mean? We're from the same tribe. We already established this.
Well,
her
you know,
and I are literally from the same tribe.
So I will, if you guys are claiming me, I'm going to say yeah, because you know, Nigerians, we do not love you.
Oh, damn.
We do not love you.
Yeah, she doesn't speak for all of us. I like Nigerians, you know.
We do not trust you, okay?
Damn.
Yes.
My days.
My dad always told me don't ever trust a Nigerian.
Damn.
But my dad is Ghanaian, so you know, it makes sense.
But yeah, carry on.
I would say, okay, so when she was newborn, it was a big struggle. She had colic, so I don't know.
What's colic?
It's like when they're drinking their bottle, you get like little air bubbles that
right, the one that
they can't bring it up. But
so you have to do the leg shaking.
You have
thing.
to do,
and then
it's like you have to buy a special bottle and stuff. Yeah. But they still get very colicky and they're very irritated. So I used to hold her in one position and cook in the other one. And if I even put her down, she'd scream. Yeah. So I'd have to do my day holding her. I would say it was fun. It was hard because financially, when I hit 18, I got 20 grand from like a court case thing. So one for a car accident, one from another thing, which really helped. So I'm not going to lie, that bought majority of her stuff, her buggy, everything till she was 2 years old. But when that money went, and I actually lived the real life of people that just don't have thousands of pounds in your bank account, that's when it became hard because it was budgeting. Yeah. And remember, I was, you know, selling drugs before, so that was a lot of money. So now I'm on such a small money, and not just for myself, also for her. Is that the food?
I guess so.
Sorry, guys. We ordered Thai food.
Yeah, give us a second, guys. We'll be back. Alright, so anyway, guys, we are back in black.
Back and I'm black. Sorry, thought I just said that.
No, that was an actual song. Back in black. But anyways, so we're talking about young single motherhood.
So I would say, yeah, from the newborn stage, difficult. What people don't tell you, let's say what people don't tell you, it's so lonely. Even if you have a partner there, your partner has to go to work. They have other things they're going to do. Yeah. And during that time, you're the only adult with a baby.
Yeah.
So it becomes a bit lonely. And I would say the first couple of months, great.
Yeah.
But when you're like 9 months in, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, 9
Did
months.
you have friends coming in and everything like that? No, to help.
Yeah, but like rarely. So for instance, I did have support from my friend, and she would take my daughter twice for 2 days, once a month. And that would be my little break, and that would be my only break from her. I had friends come over, but it's just like at that point you're so exhausted from not really sleeping very well.
Yeah.
You're constantly 24/7 a mum, especially being a single mum. 24/7, that's your job. So I work with kids. So when I love them, but I can't wait to go home at the same time to get a breather away from children. Mainly because it's the soft voice, the talking very slow. It's having the patience. 24/7. And that's what was hard, having patience, and it's not as easy as everyone says.
Nah, but as a first eyewitness, the way you're raising your daughter for me is excellent. You know what I mean? Like you're teaching her patience, you're teaching her kindness, you're teaching her.
But not all the time.
Not all the time, but I'm saying from what I can see.
Yeah.
You know,
But
there's
sometimes my parents had enough. Like, I told you go to bed, you best go to bed now.
No,
I've
seen that too. You know,
but I do give the chance
go
of,
to bed and everything like that.
Soft,
But
let's try and speak.
But
and
my point is,
exactly.
And my point is, before you get to that point, and this is what I'm saying, I think you're doing an excellent job, because you're patient and you're kind. You know what I'm saying, and you can tell you actually have a lot of care for your daughter. You know what I'm saying, but you're also firm when you need to be, and you're also direct with her when you need to be. You don't baby her. You know, a lot of parents, from what I could see, baby their children. You know, they talk to them in that voice, and you talk to them you talk to her in that voice when you're having fun. But when she's like not doing something that you approve of, you also talk to her
normally like she's a normal person.
Like she's a normal person. And you don't explain it. And what's crazy to me is that you don't explain it to her like she's a baby. You would explain it to her like an adult, and I would see her like little brain working and understanding what you're saying. You know what I'm saying?
But that's because, put it like this, in her speech and language, because she has speech delay, they said she understands complex sentences, but she actually doesn't understand basic.
Right, okay.
So, but I don't know whether or not I've kind of showed her, look, no, not good. I used to speak like that a lot, and now it's like, no, Maya, you're doing too much, just stop. And she actually understands, and she stops. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even I talk to your daughter, she's like, as young as she is, she's also well spoken for a baby. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, the please and the thank you.
Yeah, the please and the thank you. Yes. And then it's like you're talking to somebody intellectual, but she's a baby.
I know, 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, what, like, you know
but I feel like when you have kids, they just copy whatever your lingo is.
Possibly,
and
yeah.
Sometimes she's like to me, Mom, do this, do that. And I'm like, can you give me 5 minutes? I'm cooking or I'm doing something.
Oh, is that where she get the 5 minutes?
That's where she's getting the 5 minutes. Because I'll be like, yeah, Maya, just give me 5 minutes and I'll do it.
Now, my
and
favorite
she comes
word,
back in 5 minutes.
My favorite word from Maya is when she goes, okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's my favorite word. You be like, Maya, come here. Okay. Maya, do this. Okay.
But I would say parenting can be lonely. It is rewarding. But I feel like everybody thinks when you have a kid, do you know when they say, oh, how do I put it? Your child will love you forever and all of this and that. They will. Or yeah, like your kids will always love you. Obviously, if you haven't treated your kids right or there's issues, then maybe, you know, But I mean, in general, from a good relationship point of view, you're always going to love your parents, correct?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so from that point of view, it's lovely. But some people think, like some females, especially young, you think, oh, I'm going to get all this love from my son or all this love. It doesn't happen for a long time.
Yeah.
Children cannot show love. You are meant to give that love, and it's you pouring out love for years on end before they can communicate and show you that love as well. So like you see Maya, sometimes I'm like, can I have a kiss? No.
Yeah.
Like she's firm with
No.
it. But then other times you'll see her and she comes to me and starts hugging me up and giving me affection. It's taken till like 4 years old for her to actually start giving proper affection, where I'm like, if I'm actually really upset, she actually comes now, and I'm like, oh, I've got someone that's got my back.
That's nice.
But at 2, at 1, she was looking at me like, girl, that's your business. So I would say it's lonely, it's rewarding, but also it's tiring. I think every parent I meet has like baby father issues. My dad passed away last year.
Yeah.
So I don't really have those, issues of not paying, not picking up your kid, all of this and that. And I do feel those struggles. But for me, I think just because it's me and Maya, I get everything to choose myself. So if I want Maya to go to this school, if I want to move abroad, I get that option to do it. So that's the one, good thing and positive I take out of her dad not being alive.
Yeah.
Because you got to take a positive.
Nah, but
you just think
shout out to you
negative.
again, man. You always remind her of her dad. She got a t-shirt of her dad. Every time she goes to her grandma's, on her dad's side, say, oh, you going to your dad's house? It's a constant reminder, which is another, thing I think you're doing excellent,
But for me growing up, I think my parents didn't think for me, they thought for them and how they felt about situations. So for me, I put in her shoes of, she's going to want to at least, she didn't grow up with her dad. Her dad passed at 2, but it's going to be nice for her to know, my mum always spoke about my dad. Like, she always gave me memories, or she's always, like, brought him up, or she always, found a way for her to grieve herself because she's only 2.
I agree, yeah.
So eventually when she hits that age of realization, she's going to be really distraught that she doesn't, have a dad, and she's never going to have that experience. So I want her to have at least something, where we talk about in a peaceful way, so she doesn't grieve in a bad way.
She looks like her dad as well, man. Crazy.
Twins,
yeah. I mean, you showed me a picture of her dad. I thought that was a picture of your daughter.
That's what my brother thought.
Yeah. I was like, what? Is that Maya? No, that's her dad. I was like, no way, bruv. Madness.
Yeah, she's the other side. She's claimed the other side. I'll wait for her to get my side. But it's rewarding. It's just tiring. There's no days off. There's no breaks. You give. You get back. I would say I get back, but you give a lot more.
Yeah.
And you have to think realistically about future things. So maybe being 23 now, I wouldn't have thought of maybe life insurance. I wouldn't have thought of like, oh, I really want to buy a house. All these goals that you kind of think of at 25 to 30 is what I'm thinking now.
I mean,
like majority.
Majority.
I guess it depends. Because
I had to I had to do that when I was like in my 20s, but that's just because of the job I was doing.
Like that's what I mean. It depends your social circle. For me, a lot of my friends live at home.
Yeah.
They're like they still live with their parents. The parents love it.
No, I mean even me. Like I left the army when I was 24, and from 24 till last year I was still living at home with my parents. Only mid last year, I decided to go move out elsewhere, and that's just because when I left the army, I wanted to directly go live by myself, but my mom and my dad begged me. Well, they begged me to stay. They're like, no, stay.
You know what I mean?
No, 100. I chose to stay.
I would have stayed as well.
You know what I mean? But of course, I want to stay. I get free food every day. I only have to
not even
pay.
that. You've been in the army for a while.
No, it's not even that. For me, for me, it was the food because I could take care of myself. For me, it was the food and the fact that I only had to, at the time when I moved over, I only had to pay 200 for rent. You know what I mean? So I was saving a lot of money.
But what I meant is, like, didn't you miss your
after that, I had
family
to pay
circle of, like,
that's one of the reasons why I came back. That's one of the reasons why I came back. So I was in Cyprus, and then they asked us if we wanted to stay there for another 2 years. The reason why I came back to England was because I was missing the family. You know what I'm saying? It was because I was missing the family. I was starting to get some, I started to feel like, like my cousins, my sisters, my mom, everybody's like getting old without me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And bro, I was like, man, this whole living abroad is not for me, man. It's not for me, bro. But yeah, man, I mean, this is a good segue. We can now talk about mental issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, single mom.
Sorry, I don't think I delved too much in the single one, but I don't think there's like much to dive into it.
I mean, I think what you said was was sufficient.
I think the struggle is working full time.
Yeah.
Being a single mom working full time.
Yeah.
I burn out every couple of months. I burn out so much, and I just feel like it's a repeating
That's literally what I was
cycle.
going. That's literally what I was going to ask. Like, how's your mental health being a single mom at so young, and obviously you went with him, granted, but you still lost your daughter's father again at so young. You know, that potential or that support that you would have had, you know, had he been here. How does that affect you mentally and all this stuff?
Let's say this is a mental health box. This is my mental health. Throw it out the window. Literally.
I don't know what that means.
Like, throw it out the window.
Well,
It's gone.
yeah.
It's gone.
Well, you don't have time to feel mental issues, no?
No.
Just because you have to be.
That's why, obviously, I've spoken to you about my daughter going to paternal family for a little bit, for me to take a break and mentally get back to focus. Because mentally, I was already drained from being a parent anyway and doing everything by myself. But I stuck through that. I just went through that, stuck through it. And then her dad passing away, I didn't really deal with that. So I worked 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I had 2 jobs. For me, I just wanted to work harder, so I took on another job and said, as long as I work, I don't have to think about it. So even now, I've never dealt with it. So I help Maya deal with her grief, but I don't deal with mine because I know if I do properly grieve, I'll just have a breakdown. So nobody has time for that with full-time work and a child. So you don't really have time to do that. Plus, NHS is rubbish. Let's just say that. No offence. Actually, offence.
No, offend them away, man.
Yeah, their mental health service for NHS is ridiculous. I think that's why you see loads of videos on social media of people doing crazy things because mental health is at its peak and nobody's helping
even I don't know whether that's a relevant addition to it or not, but my YouTube, it's crazy how my YouTube algorithm somehow, I don't know whether because I was researching about mental health or whatnot, but how much people in this world are being let down by the government and by people who are supposed to be helping them. You know, like you see these people hurt and you like, I don't have the ability to help or the education because everybody
you don't
has
have the medical knowledge,
but I don't have the medical knowledge to change anything. You know what I'm saying? But those who do and those that we entrusted, you know,
but I don't think
let
it's
them down.
we can't really sit there and say it's all the doctors' fault. I can sit there and say it's the government's
No,
fault.
that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the government.
If you
I'm
want to
talking
put
about the doctors.
funding in, like, they don't even get paid enough.
Yeah.
Doctors, nurses, they don't get paid what they should be getting paid for studying. How long you study?
Yeah.
Me, I just.
Now, I wasn't talking about the doctors. I was talking when I say the people
but I mean
we
the
trust.
system,
I'm talking about the system.
I think it's the government. The government. Look at right now. How much did we give? A couple million to another country for something. But look, we've got children that are still starving here. We've got poor families that can't even afford to turn on the heating and things like that.
It's how Damian Marley said it, and they put flag on the moon, but they can't find food to feed starving stomachs.
So I would say. Sorry, let's get back to it. Where was going?
No, carry on.
Yeah, I would say the mental health service is rubbish. Yeah. I think with her dad, I didn't deal with that, and I still haven't. But I also don't know how to.
Yeah.
And therapy's expensive. I'm so sorry. It's about like £120 per session.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm going to be going to therapy for paying for therapy.
Damn.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I am eventually going to start paying for it because I need it, and I don't have time for an 8-month wait. It's literally 8 months to wait on the NHS for that.
And I don't know whether you're comfortable with me saying this because obviously you didn't bring it up, but you're also on the spectrum, aren't you? Are you?
I wouldn't say it's on the spectrum because when you say on the spectrum, you more think special needs. I would say.
Well, I would say there's different levels. There's a.
I don't know because I only talk from the educational standpoint. So when people say the spectrum, they usually mean like on the spectrum of autism or something like that.
Okay, you did say that last time when I say you're on the. Oh, you're on the spectrum. You're like
when we're in meetings at school, that's what they say. They would be like, oh, they're on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And then So.
So what's yours one then?
I have borderline personality disorder. I'm trying to see if there's any other name for it, because there are other names that you can call it.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is the
You don't have to be all scientists about it. You know, it's just...
No, but if you're going to talk about it, you've got to talk about, like, you've got to go through the actual thing so people know what the actual name is.
By all means, yeah.
So, yeah. I have that. I was diagnosed with that after my daughter's dad passed. I was just like, I was lost. I was, I would literally, nursery was about 10 minutes, you know what her nursery was, about 10-minute walk, 10-15 minutes. I used to book cabs there. I used to not get dressed. I wouldn't brush my hair. I wouldn't do anything. I would literally get her ready, and then my face would be like this. Sometimes I'd come with my hood up, and then it looks like I've been crying all day, and then just drop in cab, drop her back, and then I was just like lost. I would just sit in my house for hours and just sit down. So I called the doctor, because I was like, this ain't normal. Like, I know I'm grieving, but I need to, like, it's been like 2 weeks and I haven't done really much. And like, I'm acting very erratic. So then I saw a psychologist afterwards, got diagnosed. But when I was diagnosed, I was actually in... So you go from severe, then you go down to mild. I was more moderate mild. I had brought it down to mild pretty much by myself.
Yeah. So what's the difference between mild, moderate, mild, and all of that?
So severe was my teenage years. So when I was doing all of those selling drugs, it was very impulsive. I loved it. Like, the impulsivity, it kept me going. It felt like, you know, when you get a dopamine fix like that. That's what it pretty much felt like. It just, in general, I was unstable with any relationship, friendships, relationships, anything, family relationships. It's like 1 minute you're either all good to me or you're all bad. But I've managed to kind of, how do I put it? I've managed to dilute that. Right. That's the word I'm going to use.
Why is this guy? Anyways, carry on.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's giving us LED effects.
It's a podcast anyway, so you don't have to watch the videos to listen. You can just listen. You know what I mean? Because of the way it's reacting to the video, the lights.
It's like a LED light.
Yeah.
Doof, 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 doof.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I cut you off. Carry on.
No, it's fine. But yeah, no, when I was diagnosed, I wasn't actually surprised. I kind of thought I had that a lot in my teenage years, because a lot of the symptoms are like unstable relationships, erratic mood. So like bipolar, you'd be manic, which is like, you know, when they're jumping up and down, they want to buy everything, they want to spend all their money, and then you'll be depressed all of a sudden. Their one would last either days, weeks, or months. Mine could last 5 minutes, could last 2 minutes. So I could be crying right now, hysterical that something bad has happened. It could have been my crock has just broke, and I could cry, and the next thing you know, I just start laughing, and then you'd automatically think, "Wow, that person's crazy," and then I might just
even
be
when
like,
you explained that, I was like, "Right, that's crazy."
Yeah, like it's very erratic, up and down. Like you can have 5 different moods in the space of 30 minutes. Damn. So it's not very nice, and it's not very good.
Does that affect you when you with raising your daughter?
Yeah, it affects me and everything. I'm just very So what I used was weed to suppress. That's what suppressed it. So that's why sometimes when Jannay's very humble, that's what all I've used, because that's the only thing that actually makes me feel like I don't have my disorder. Without that, I'm actually very erratic. Obviously there are medications you can do, but for me, to take a medication for the rest of your life to help you be normal, it just doesn't seem right to me, because it's the same thing as just smoking weed.
But wouldn't you say those doctors advising those medications will be beneficial for you?
Yes, but also if you look up something like, antidepressants, I think it's called a black box. Basically, if you look, there's like a little pamphlet that says everything in there, side effects, everything. You do know a risk of taking antidepressants is actually suicidal thoughts from taking that. Wow. Some people actually kill themselves after taking it. But it's because I watch a lot into psychology, a lot into my disorder, a lot into all these different drugs that you take. And I also, every time I take medication, read the entire packets. I don't know why I do it, but I just like to know what is going to happen.
It's good to know what's going to happen, yeah.
So for me, a lot of these stuff have side effects. So after 10 years of taking this, it's like, how is your body going to wean off of that? You're going to be so addicted And it could give you other side effects. So like mood stabilizers. That's what I want now to stabilize my mood. One of them can give you it gives liver damage, so every 3 months you've got to check your liver's okay. Another one gives kidney problems, so that's what I mean. It actually affects your health a lot, but people they don't really say too much about that. So for me, I'm damaging myself with weed, but you're damaging yourself more with the other stuff, because you have to get more of a checkup. I am still going to do mood stabilizers and try something different, because obviously weed hasn't worked. Each to their own for everybody else, but for me it hasn't worked. I feel like weed, when you're high, you're just like, oh, everything's alright. And if you're high every day, you're not looking at your life thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not where I want to be at. You're too busy being high and thinking everything is okay. But when you're in the reality of being sober every day, you realize I'm not where I want to be at all. And you're more determined to do it. Highness just makes you feel like, oh, everything's fine. Like, I just live life, let it go, let it flow. No. It's great. Well, it's not great. I wouldn't promote it. But my teenagers, for me, it was okay, because you don't have much responsibilities. But now, as an adult and just wanting to have goals in myself and be in better places, I wouldn't say it's for me.
Okay. Well, this is all we got, guys. If there's any advice, let's say there's a 13-year-old girl right now watching this video, falls on it by magic. And then, if there's any advice you can give a 13-year-old you or a 13-year-old girl here, what would it be?
Even if you're in a bad situation, stick it through. I would say get your education, because everybody said that to me and it meant nothing. It scared me. Meant nothing. But like, if I'd got my education now, I wouldn't have to go back and do GCSEs. I wouldn't have to go back. There's certain things I'd love to study in, like university, but it's so many steps to get there that it's just, with all these responsibilities, your easiest time is when you're a child. Like, you have nothing else to do, so
that's true. I agree with that.
Just do it. Whereas when you have work and you have other stuff, here's time for that.
When you got responsibilities, I mean, I don't even have as much responsibility as you do or my other friends do, and even I find it a little bit hard whenever I try to look into other when I try to look into other stuff, like different aspects of careers or whatnot. It's so hard, especially when you start paying bills, to want to change careers.
Even to get into a different sector is like impossible. It's so hard.
And the financial hit you might even take to change sectors or to change careers or to even change path. Sometimes I believe that's how people just get stuck into those quote unquote dead end jobs. You know what I mean? So honestly, kids, if you are watching this, I agree with Auntie Jannay.
I'd say stay in school, get your education to get out and make your money. If you want to live off like 3-4 grand a month, go university.
I called you Auntie Jannay, but guys, she's only 23 years old.
I am definitely not an auntie. I'm cousin Jannay. Hey.
Right. So basically, guys, yeah, man. So if I had any advice coming off you, if I had any advice to give a young man, whatever it is you want to do in the future, work on it now, because the future will come like that, and next thing you know, you're doing something you don't want to do. I was lucky enough to have that mindset when I was younger, when I was 13, to strive for what I wanted to do. So when I turned 20, what I wanted to be was a soldier. When I turned 20, I became a soldier, and honestly, it was the best thing I could have ever done. If I'd never got injured, I would have still stayed till this day. You know what I'm saying? And like, even now, I'm not doing it. I miss it like hell, because that's literally was my passion. That was my dream. That's all I wanted to be, and that's all I still want to do. But I just can't, because my knees and everything like that. But honestly, guys, if you want to do anything now, there's no better time than now. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter whether you're 13, you're never too old. You know what I'm saying? You're never too old. 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You're never too old. 25, 30, 40, 50. You're never too old. You're never gonna know unless you try it. You know what I mean? You're never gonna know unless you try it. But anyways, guys, this has been Conversation With. It's a little bit different than what I usually do, but I'm trying to understand the life of everyone. you know. So you know, you're gonna have a lot of mixed, you know, cultures and mixed people coming in, you know. So hopefully you guys will enjoy. Like, subscribe, share, you know. Oh yeah, you got a business.
Oh, I'm gonna be starting my lash business, which Roland shall definitely promote. I want to start doing individual lashes, switch it up. I feel like I do teaching assistant now in a school. I work in a private school. Lovely, love it. I love the children, but financially we are in a recession. I need to make sure my child has everything she needs and I have everything I need. And that's the most important to me. And I want to also find something that I'm going to enjoy learning the skill, trying to do different techniques where I'm actually going to enjoy it. So I'm trying to do self-employed into a lash business, so that shall be coming in the summer. And I also am going to be starting a YouTube, because why not?
There you go. And when she starts her YouTube channel, we will promote it here, and we will put a link description on this video. And maybe
I can introduce you into mine.
Maybe.
There we go.
You know what I mean? Maybe I might have to do something with my eyelashes as well. Who knows? Who knows?
Don't do it.
But anyways, guys, this has been Conversation With. I hope you like it. Subscribe, share, follow, you know. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.